A question I get very often is what's the difference between Laguna Niguel and Mission Viejo? I'm going to tell you everything I know. Stay tuned. There are about a half a dozen major differences between the two cities, Laguna Niguel and Mission Viejo. One obvious one is that Laguna Niguel is closer to the water than Mission Viejo. So this plays very much into the difference of our weather. On average, there's about 5 to 10 degrees difference between Laguna Niguel and Mission Viejo. Now, that could get even wider during the summer months. It would not be unusual for there to be a 10 to 15 degree difference from the two different cities. A typical day in July in Laguna Niguel could be about 80 to 85 degrees, while the same day in Mission Viejo could be 95 to 100. So weather is a big one, often because of the proximity to the coast. Another difference is the size and population. The size of Mission Viejo is about 18 square miles, where Laguna Niguel is slightly smaller with a land size of about 15 square miles. But the biggest difference is in our population. The population in Mission Viejo is about 93,000 compared to 64,000 in Laguna Niguel. That's a pretty big difference. We're going to definitely get to real estate, but I want to share everything so you really have a difference or an understanding of the difference between the two cities. Let's talk about commercial revenue and how much business there is in Mission Viejo compared to Laguna Niguel. I just shared with you the size difference of acreage, not that much difference, 15 square miles compared to 18 of Mission Viejo, so we're a little bit smaller. Population, big difference, about 1/3 more in Mission Viejo, 93,000 compared to 64,000. But the commercial revenue is dramatically different as well. There's about $450 million generated in commercial revenue in the city of Mission Viejo, where in Laguna Niguel, it's only about $325 million on an annual basis. The big difference, or one big difference, is the mall at the Mission Viejo Mall, shops at the Mission Viejo Mall. That generates a lot of commercial revenue. In addition to that, the slightly extra space that they have, those 3 extra square miles, I would just kind of describe Mission Viejo as more densely populated with commercial businesses, okay? In Laguna Niguel, there's a lot more green space. I compare the two by saying more concrete in Mission Viejo, more dirt in Laguna Niguel. We've got a lot more greenery, a lot more green belt, and that definitely shows in the density of, or the amount of commercial properties that there are, the amount of housing that there is, and the big difference between the size and everything that goes along with the number of people who live there and the dollars that are generated with the commercial property. So a lot more industry and commercial property in Mission Viejo compared to Laguna Niguel. In Laguna Niguel, as you drive through the streets, you're going to see small little neighborhood centers. In Mission Viejo, those centers are typically larger, and that Mission Viejo Mall is quite a big animal up there. It's right up Crown Valley Parkway. So from Laguna Niguel, if you drive from the coast, Dana Point, all the way through the middle of the city, Crown Valley Parkway, you will pass the 5 freeway, the corridor of the 5 freeway. As soon as you get to the other side of the 5 freeway on Crown Valley Parkway, there becomes Mission Viejo. All right, so now let's talk about my favorite subject, real estate, and the difference between Laguna Niguel and Mission Viejo. Both very nice communities. You understand the difference of weather, proximity to the ocean, and all that. Let's dig into the statistics about the housing market. In Laguna Niguel, we have about 27,000, a little over 27,000 homes. In Mission Viejo, there's a little over 34,000 homes, so about 10,000 homes different. Larger area in Mission Viejo, more homes. The average age of home in Mission Viejo is about 10 to 15 years older on average than the Laguna Niguel construction. We just developed a little bit later than Mission Viejo. So understanding that leads us to some interesting sales statistics. The average lot size for recent sales in the past 6 months, I'm going to put some numbers up here so you can understand from here forward what we're looking at for residential home sales. In the city of Laguna Niguel, the average lot size was 7,000 square feet, where in Mission Viejo it was smaller. It was only about 5,500 square foot. So smaller lot size, typically then that would indicate smaller home, and that is accurate. The average home sale for Laguna Niguel was 2,130 feet. The average home sale for square footage in Mission Viejo was 1,748. So you'll see that distinction: larger lots, larger homes on average selling in Laguna Niguel. The dollar per square foot is also significantly different. So you're going to get a little bit more home in terms of value, size, if you measure it that way, in Mission Viejo than you will in Laguna Niguel. The average dollar per square foot for recent sales in Mission Viejo was $622, where in Laguna Niguel, it is more. It's $695 per foot on average. The average days on market, probably because of the lower price range of Mission Viejo, most recent average days on market were 22 for Mission Viejo and 31 for Laguna Niguel. So it takes us a little bit longer to sell a home because we're selling on average more expensive homes. And that brings us to probably the biggest difference is what is the average sales price for the two different areas. In Mission Viejo, the average sales price was $1,066,000. In Laguna Niguel, it is significantly more. It's $1,482,000. So a significant difference in the average sales price. And here's why. Both of these areas are very nice areas to live. I sell frequently in Mission Viejo, although I do live in Laguna Niguel and most of my business is here, but I sell in all contiguous communities, all the cities around us and then beyond, of course. But with regards to Laguna Niguel, we have a lot more luxury homes and a lot more upscale neighborhoods. And Mission Viejo, just because of when it was built and who it was built for, they never really addressed the luxury market like Laguna Niguel. In Laguna Niguel, in the past year, there were 78 home sales above $2 million, where in Mission Viejo, there were only 9 home sales above $2 million. When you get to the threshold of 5 million and above, in the past year, there have not been any sales at all in Mission Viejo above 5 million. And we've had 7 sales in the city of Laguna Niguel above 5 million, nothing in the past year above 10, although there are some properties currently on the market above 10 million. And they tend to not sell as quickly. And of course, there's not as many, but you're going to see by this data that I've put up on the screen that Laguna Niguel has more expensive homes, larger homes on larger lots. And there is that difference between the Laguna Niguel real estate profile and the Mission Viejo real estate profile. If I can help you, I would be honored. I sell homes all over South County. I'll put my information on the screen. Randy Ora with Berkshire Hathaway, changing lives one home at a time.